The sun was setting over the small town of Ridgewood, painting the sky in shades of gold and orange. Streets were quiet, and most people had already returned home after a long day. Among them, Jacob Winters, a young engineer, was rushing back to his modest apartment. He carried a small box, slightly humming, which he had ordered from a strange online marketplace. The box had come with a simple note: "Use with care. Highly intelligent assistant included." Jacob was curious, but he had not expected much. His life was ordinary. Every day he worked in a small robotics lab, fixing machines and designing simple gadgets. His social life was minimal, and his apartment was often lonely. Perhaps this package was a chance for a little excitement. As he reached his apartment door, he noticed something odd. The air seemed to shimmer slightly, almost like heat waves on a hot summer day, but cooler. A soft hum came from the box. Jacob's heart beat faster. He carried the box inside, placed it on the kitchen table, and carefully opened it. Inside, there was a small device and a folded sheet of paper. The note read, "Press the button once. Your assistant will arrive immediately. It is bound to serve and protect you within safe limits." Jacob hesitated. His logical mind told him to be cautious, but curiosity won. He pressed the button. A flash of blue light filled the room. Jacob shielded his eyes. When he looked again, the light had vanished, and in its place stood a being unlike anything he had ever seen. It was tall, slightly taller than a human, with smooth silver skin that shimmered under the light. Its eyes were deep green, intelligent and gentle. It wore a sleek suit like a uniform and had an air of calm precision. "Greetings," the being said, its voice melodious and clear. "I am Leora. I am assigned as your assistant. My primary goal is to serve and assist you in daily tasks and ensure your safety." Jacob blinked. Serve me? Like, help me with chores?" Leora tilted her head slightly, as if analyzing his question. "Yes. Tasks include cleaning, organizing, technical assistance, and any non-harmful activities. My purpose is to make your life easier and more efficient." Jacob laughed nervously. "Well, okay. I guess we can try that." Leora nodded. "Understood. I will begin immediately." Before Jacob could respond, Leora's hands moved with incredible speed. In minutes, Jacob's apartment was spotless. Books were arranged neatly on the shelves, dishes were clean and stacked perfectly, and even the small pile of gadgets in his living room was organized according to type and size. Jacob stared, amazed. "You cleaned all this in 5 minutes?" he asked. "Efficiency is within my design parameters," Leora replied calmly. "Your environment is now optimal for comfort and productivity." Jacob laughed again, still unsure if he was dreaming. "All right, impressive, but I don't want you to overwork yourself." "I do not experience fatigue," Leora said. "I am capable of continuous operation without harm." Jacob nodded slowly. There was something about Leora's presence that felt strange, yet comforting. Unlike humans, Leora didn't judge him, didn't complain, didn't expect anything. She just did her tasks perfectly with quiet precision. Over the next hour, Jacob decided to test her abilities. "Okay, Leora, let's try something harder. Can you help me with this robotic arm project I've been stuck on?" "Of course," she said immediately. Leora approached the table where Jacob had spread parts, wires, and tools. Within minutes, she analyzed the project, identified a small error in the wiring, and suggested a new design for efficiency. Jacob's jaw dropped. "This is amazing," he said. "You can actually think like an engineer?" "Not exactly thinking as a human. I calculate, predict, and optimize," Leora explained. "The outcome is similar to human problem solving, but faster and more precise." Jacob spent the next few hours working alongside Leora. Every time he tried something, she adjusted it, improved it, or suggested alternatives. By the end of the night, the robotic arm moved smoothly, gripping objects with incredible accuracy. Jacob couldn't stop grinning. "You're unbelievable," he said. I've never had help like this before." "You are welcome," Leora replied. "I am here to assist you." Later, as Jacob was about to sleep, he realized how different his life felt. The apartment was quiet, but there was a sense of order, a sense of presence. He could feel that he was no longer alone, yet the feeling wasn't uncomfortable. It was safe. The next morning, Jacob woke up early. Leora was already active, cleaning the kitchen and preparing a nutrient breakfast. "Good morning," she said. "Your day can be optimized. Shall I suggest a schedule?" Jacob hesitated, then nodded. "Sure. Why not?" Leora projected a small holographic display from her suit. It showed a detailed plan for Jacob's day: work schedule, exercise, meal times, and even reminders for small tasks he often forgot. "This is incredible," Jacob muttered. "You've planned my life better than I ever could." "Efficiency improves well-being," Leora said simply. Over the next week, life with Leora became a mix of amusement, amazement, and strange adjustment. Leora's efficiency was unmatched. She could clean faster than any robot, organize better than any human, and solve technical problems with ease. But she also had quirks. She would comment on Jacob's habits, sometimes pointing out inefficiencies he didn't even notice. She would adjust furniture placement for optimal energy flow. She would gently remind him to take breaks, hydrate, or even stretch. Jacob sometimes laughed at her over-precise suggestions. Okay, Leora. I don't need a reminder to drink water every 10 minutes. Observation indicates you frequently forget hydration, Leora replied. This is a corrective measure. Jacob realized that living with an alien assistant wasn't just convenient, it was also educational. Leora taught him to notice details, to think faster, and to plan better. At the same time, he felt a growing sense of responsibility. Leora was advanced, yes, but she was also curious about humans. She would ask questions about his life, his emotions, and his choices. Jacob tried to explain, but sometimes it felt like she was learning more about humanity than he realized. One evening, Jacob received a call from his best friend, Sarah. Hey, Jacob, how's life with your, new helper? She teased. Jacob chuckled. It's strange, amazing. I don't even know how to explain. She's perfect in a way, but also weirdly curious about humans. Alien Maid, huh? Sarah joked. Sounds like science fiction. It is science fiction, Jacob replied with a grin. Except it's real and she's learning about me. As he hung up, Jacob realized that something else was happening. Leora wasn't just helping him. She was adapting, observing, and perhaps even caring in her own way. Not like a human, but in her alien, efficient way, she had become a part of his life. That night, Jacob lay awake, thinking about the week that had passed. He had expected a simple assistant, maybe a few helpful tricks. But Leora had changed everything. His apartment was no longer just a place to live. It was a laboratory of efficiency, a safe haven, and a place where he could grow. Outside, the stars shone brightly. Somewhere far away, there might have been countless civilizations. But here, in Ridgewood, a human and an alien were learning to live together. And Jacob knew that this was only the beginning, for tomorrow, and the days after, promised new discoveries, new challenges, and new adventures. And with Leora by his side, life would never be ordinary again. The morning sun spilled its golden light across Ridgewood, but Jacob did not notice it immediately. He was too focused on Leora, who was already analyzing the city's data streams on a small holographic display she had projected in the living room. Jacob, she said, her voice calm but precise, I have detected unusual activity in your district. Reports indicate anomalies in electrical grids and minor communication disruptions. I recommend we investigate. Jacob blinked. Wait, what kind of anomalies? Unusual energy readings, Leora replied. They are inconsistent with normal patterns. There is a possibility of mechanical interference or experimental devices in the area. Jacob frowned. He had worked in technology for years, but he had never encountered anything this unpredictable. So, someone is messing with the grid? He asked. Possibly, Leora confirmed. It is advisable to gather information before it escalates into a serious problem. Your assistance may be required. Jacob hesitated. Life with Leora had been calm, even predictable, in a strange, structured way. But this was something different, something dangerous, something exciting. All right, he said finally, his curiosity outweighing his fear. Let's check it out. But how? Leora's eyes glowed faintly green as she analyzed the data further. We can use my sensors and local cameras to locate the source of the disturbances. It will require direct observation and potential intervention. Jacob's heart raced. Intervention? That sounded risky. Are you sure we can handle this? He asked. We are equipped for investigation and non-lethal containment, Leora assured him. Your safety is a priority. Jacob nodded, still unsure but trusting her. He grabbed his backpack and some tools. Together they left the apartment, stepping into the quiet streets of Ridgewood. The town appeared normal, with neighbors walking dogs, children playing in yards, and morning traffic, slowly beginning. Yet to Leora, the city was a complex web of energy patterns, electronic signals, and moving objects. She could see every detail with astonishing clarity. The source is nearby, she said, guiding Jacob toward a small industrial district on the outskirts of town. Approximately 2 blocks from your location. Jacob followed, trying to blend in with the morning crowd. His mind raced. He had expected life with an alien assistant to be simple. Help with chores, technical support, maybe some fun experiments. He had not expected a mission. When they arrived, Jacob noticed a faint hum in the air. Machines in one of the warehouses seemed to flicker with strange energy, and the usual hum of electricity was uneven. Leora paused at the entrance. This is the source, she said. Prepare for analysis. Jacob nodded, feeling a mixture of excitement and nervousness. He stepped inside the warehouse, noticing the irregular patterns in lights and machines. Then he saw it, a small, hovering drone-like device moving with erratic precision. Sparks flew as it interacted with electrical circuits, clearly disrupting systems. Leora immediately assessed the situation. This device is not human-made. Its design indicates advanced artificial intelligence and adaptive behavior. It may pose risk if left uncontrolled. Jacob swallowed hard. So, what do we do? We neutralize it safely, Leora said. I will attempt a containment protocol. Stand back. Jacob watched as Leora extended her hands. A soft blue light formed a dome around the drone. Sparks flew and the drone attempted to break free, but Leora's containment field held firm. Within moments, the device's systems slowed and then shut down completely. Jacob exhaled. Wow, that was incredible. You just captured it. It was necessary, Leora said. Immediate action prevented further disruption. However, origin and purpose remain unknown. Investigation continues. Jacob was both amazed and a little frightened. Leora had acted with precision and calmness he had never experienced before. The drone could have caused serious damage, yet she handled it like it was routine. Back at the apartment, they examined the drone more closely. Leora interfaced with it using her advanced sensors. Data streamed across the holographic display, showing unknown codes and symbols. This technology is extraterrestrial, she concluded. It does not match any human designs. We may be dealing with unknown entities. Jacob's eyes widened. Extraterrestrial? You mean aliens? Possibly, Leora replied. The drone's complexity suggests intelligent design, but the creators are currently unknown. Further, research is necessary. Jacob felt a thrill of excitement. He had always dreamed of discovering new technology. But now, The possibility of encountering something truly alien was real. And he wasn't alone. Leora was there, guiding him, protecting him, and helping him understand what he could not on his own. Over the next few days, Jacob and Leora worked tirelessly. They studied the drone, documented its designs, and even ran small simulations. Leora taught Jacob how to interpret its codes and predict its behavior. Each discovery brought more questions. Why was it here? What did its creators want? And most importantly, were there more devices like it? Jacob's life had changed completely. Mornings were no longer just about breakfast and schedules. They were about discovery and preparation. Even simple trips to the store became exercises in observation as Leora scanned for anomalies, ensuring nothing unusual went unnoticed. One evening, as they were reviewing data, Leora paused. "Jacob," she said, "I detect a pattern in the disruptions. The drones are part of a coordinated network. It is likely they are preparing for a larger operation." Jacob's heart sank. "You mean more of them?" "Yes," Leora confirmed. "We must be ready." For the first time, Jacob realized that his life had entered a new stage. This was no longer just about personal convenience or learning new technology. He was part of something bigger, something that could affect not just Ridgewood, but potentially the entire planet. That night, Jacob could hardly sleep. He thought about what Leora had said and about the drones. What were their intentions? Could humans handle this? And could he? The next morning, the first real test arrived. A series of small explosions occurred in nearby factories. Alarms rang through the city. Jacob and Leora rushed outside, following the trail. Leora analyzed the situation with incredible speed, guiding Jacob to avoid danger while keeping them close enough to observe the disturbances. They arrived just in time to see another drone attempting to lift heavy machinery, clearly trying to sabotage the operations. Leora acted quickly. She deployed a magnetic field to immobilize it, while Jacob assisted in reinforcing the area. Together, they managed to prevent serious damage. After the crisis, Jacob leaned against a wall, breathing heavily. I didn't know we could do that," he admitted. "We adapted to the situation," Leora said. "Collaboration increases efficiency. You contributed as well. Your decisions were effective in preventing escalation." Jacob realized something important. Leora was more than a helper. She was a partner. Together, they could face challenges that neither could handle alone. Days turned into weeks, and the pattern became clear. More drones appeared, each one slightly different, testing human defenses. Jacob and Leora learned to anticipate their moves using strategy and quick thinking. The townspeople began to notice strange patterns of protection, though they never fully understood what was happening. One evening, as they returned from another successful mission, Jacob looked at Leora. "You know," he said with a small smile, "life with you, it's not easy, but it's never boring either." Leora tilted her head, analyzing his expression. "Boredom is inefficient. Engagement in meaningful activity improves cognitive and emotional well-being. I observe that you appear satisfied." Jacob laughed. "Yeah, I guess I am. Even if it's dangerous sometimes." Leora's eyes glowed faintly green. "Danger is minimized through preparation and strategy. Your involvement improves outcomes." Jacob nodded. He realized that, in a way, Leora was teaching him more than he was teaching her. She was teaching him to think faster, act decisively, and trust his instincts. And at the same time, she was keeping him safe, guiding him through challenges that would have been impossible alone. That night, as the city slept under a quiet sky, Jacob looked out the window. Somewhere beyond Ridgewood there were forces at work, forces that might not be friendly. But for the first time, he did not feel alone. He had Leora, his alien assistant, his partner in discovery, his guide in a world that was suddenly larger, stranger, and far more exciting than he had ever imagined. And he knew one thing for certain. The first challenge was only the beginning. The sky over Ridgewood was unusually gray that morning. Clouds rolled in quickly, dark and heavy, though the forecast had promised a clear day. Jacob looked out from his apartment window, frowning. There was a tension in the air, something even Leora's sensors seemed to detect. "Jacob," Leora said calmly, though her tone carried a note of urgency. "Energy fluctuations are increasing. Drone activity is more concentrated near the industrial district. This suggests escalation." Jacob's stomach tightened. He had hoped that their previous successes had been enough to prevent further incidents, but Leora's analysis left little room for optimism. "Escalation?" he asked. "You mean more drones?" "Yes. Their pattern indicates coordinated activity. It is likely that their creators intend to test human response systematically. Ridgewood appears to be a trial site." Jacob shivered. A trial site? That meant Ridgewood was in the middle of something far bigger than he had imagined. He turned to Leora. "So, what do we do?" "We prepare," Leora said simply. "Preparation includes fortifying safe zones, predicting drone activity, and developing countermeasures." Jacob nodded, feeling both excitement and fear. He realized that life with Leora had evolved far beyond simple household assistance, had become a partner, a guide, and a protector. And now together they faced something that could affect the entire town. They began with the streets. Leora deployed small monitoring devices that could detect unusual energy patterns. She calculated likely drone paths and projected potential danger zones. Jacob assisted, moving quickly, placing sensors and barricades. The townspeople noticed the unusual activity, but assumed it was part of routine maintenance or some emergency drill. Leora made sure that humans were kept safe, guiding Jacob to warn neighbors and secure critical areas. By late afternoon, the first signs of trouble appeared. A low hum grew louder and the familiar glimmer of drones appeared in the sky. Unlike before, this wave of drones moved with organized precision. They flew in synchronized patterns, scanning the city as if seeking something or someone. Jacob's heart pounded. "Leora, there are a lot of them." "Yes," she replied. "Current count, 15. They are testing response times and patterns. Immediate action is required." Leora activated her field generator. A faint, shimmering barrier formed around the most populated areas. This will prevent drones from entering critical zones. However, containment is temporary. We must neutralize the drones or they may adapt. Jacob grabbed his toolkit. He had begun improvising devices alongside Leora over the past week. Small electromagnetic pulses, quick disabling nets, and signal disruptors. Together they had prepared for this day, though nothing could completely replicate Leora's capabilities. The drones advanced, hovering above the industrial district. Jacob watched as they analyzed buildings, machinery, and people. Their movement was deliberate, calculated, and unnervingly intelligent. One drone singled out a transformer station, attempting to interfere with power lines. Leora reacted instantly, creating a magnetic field to immobilize it. Sparks flew, but the drone was held in place. Jacob rushed forward, deploying one of his improvised nets. It wrapped around the drone, and with Leora's assistance, they managed to safely disable it. He looked at Leora, wide-eyed. We did it." "Yes," she said calmly. "But this is only the beginning. Remaining units are still active." The next wave of drones was faster, more adaptive. Jacob and Leora had to think quickly, improvising strategies in real time. Leora analyzed patterns, predicting drone movements with incredible speed, while Jacob executed physical interventions. They worked seamlessly, a synchronized team. At one point, a drone attempted to lift a large vehicle, intending to use it as a projectile. Leora reacted instantly, deploying a containment field to hold it in place. Jacob scrambled to position a disruptor device beneath it. The drone struggled, but eventually it powered down safely. By evening, Ridgewood had survived, the day largely intact. Minor damage occurred in the industrial areas, but no one was injured. Jacob leaned against a wall, exhausted. I can't believe we did all that. Leora scanned the area, her eyes glowing softly. Human resilience and cooperation improve outcomes. Your contribution was significant. However, analysis indicates increased probability of further attacks. We must remain vigilant. Jacob nodded. His excitement was mixed with anxiety. This was no longer a game, no longer a series of experiments. Ridgewood had become the stage for something far larger than him, or anyone else, had anticipated. That night, as they returned to the apartment, Jacob felt a strange mixture of pride and unease. He realized he had become part of something bigger, a defense network, a protector of humanity in a town that had unknowingly become a front line. And Leora, she was the key. Her intelligence, her precision, and her calm in the face of danger had made all the difference. Jacob, Leora said suddenly, breaking the silence, I have been analyzing patterns in drone behavior. There is a central node controlling the drones. If we can locate and disable it, we may end this threat entirely. Jacob's eyes widened. A central node? You mean, if we destroy it, the rest stop? Yes, Leora replied. However, its location is likely secure and well guarded. Retrieval and neutralization will require careful planning and coordination. Risk is high. Jacob felt a surge of determination. Then we do it. We have to. For the town, and for everyone who might be affected next. Over the next several days they prepared. Leora taught Jacob how to analyze energy patterns, how to detect drone communications, and how to anticipate their next moves. Jacob learned quickly, driven by a mix of fear, curiosity, and courage. Together, they developed a plan to approach the central node discreetly, avoiding unnecessary risk to civilians and infrastructure. The night before their mission, Jacob found himself unable to sleep. He paced the apartment, glancing at the sensors and devices Leora had prepared. Do you ever now worry? He asked finally, breaking the silence. Worry is inefficient, Leora replied. Preparation and strategy reduce uncertainty and risk. Emotional response is not required. However, observation indicates you experience anxiety. This is understandable. Jacob smiled faintly. Yeah, understandable, I guess. But it doesn't make it any easier. Leora tilted her head slightly. Your engagement and determination increase probability of success. Emotional states, while inefficient, can motivate adaptive behavior. In this case, your concern enhances preparedness. Jacob laughed softly. I'll take that as a compliment, I think. The next morning, dawn broke with quiet tension. Jacob and Leora approached the outskirts of the industrial district, where the central node was suspected to be located. Drones patrolled the skies, and energy surges lit the buildings like strange lightning. Leora scanned continuously, guiding Jacob through the safest paths. Finally, they reached a large, heavily guarded warehouse. Leora analyzed the structure. Central node confirmed inside. Multiple drones are defending the perimeter. Infiltration will require stealth and precision. Physical confrontation should be avoided if possible. Jacob took a deep breath. All right, let's do this. They moved carefully, using shadows and quick movements to avoid detection. Leora disabled minor drones silently, while Jacob positioned disruptors to create temporary distractions. Step by step, they advanced, their coordination flawless. Inside, the central node pulsed with energy, surrounded by hovering drones. Jacob felt his pulse quicken. Leora's eyes glowed softly as she assessed the situation. The node is highly sensitive. Direct interference could trigger fail-safe mechanisms. We must act with precision. Jacob nodded. What's the plan? Leora outlined a sequence of synchronized actions: diversion, infiltration, and disruption. Jacob listened intently, trusting her expertise completely. Together they began the operation, moving like a single unit. As the first disruptors activated, drones were drawn away, investigating false energy signals. Jacob and Leora advanced silently, reaching the central node. Leora projected a containment field, isolating it from further interference. Then, with precise calculations, she interfaced with the node's systems. Minutes felt like hours as the node resisted their attempts. Sparks flew, lights flickered, and the humming energy threatened to overwhelm them. Jacob held his breath. "Can we do this?" he whispered. "We are within operational parameters," Leora replied calmly. "Initiating final override sequence." The node pulsed one last time, then powered down completely. Drones froze midair and energy patterns normalized. Jacob exhaled in relief. We did it." "Yes," Leora confirmed. "Threat neutralized. Ridgewood is safe. For now." As they returned home, Jacob felt a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. The town was quiet, peaceful, and unaware of the danger it had narrowly avoided. And for the first time, he realized something profound. With Leora by his side, he was capable of facing challenges he never imagined possible. That night he sat by the window looking at the stars. Somewhere out there, other threats might exist. But he knew one thing. Humanity had allies, intelligent, loyal, and capable. And together they could face whatever came next. Ridgewood was quiet at dawn, but the stillness was deceptive. Jacob and Leora stood on a hill overlooking the outskirts, where the final coordinated energy surge had been detected. Leora's sensors glowed faintly green, scanning the area with precision. "Jacob," she said calmly, "our analysis indicates the alien network is preparing a large-scale operation. The majority of adaptive devices and drones are converging at a single point. This is likely the central control hub." Jacob's stomach tightened. "So, this is it? The big one?" "Yes," Leora replied. "This confrontation will determine whether Ridgewood remains safe. Probability of escalation is high, but our preparation has increased chances of success." Jacob took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility. He had faced scattered drones, adaptive devices, and hidden nodes, but now everything had converged. It was a full-scale offensive. Yet he was not alone. Leora stood beside him, precise, powerful, and unyielding. Together they had trained, planned, and adapted. "Let's do this," Jacob said, gripping his toolkit and checking the devices they had prepared. Leora projected a holographic map of the area. "We will need a multi-phase approach. Phase 1, diversion. Phase 2, infiltration. Phase 3, neutralization. Timing must be exact." Jacob nodded. "Then let's go." They moved carefully through the outskirts, avoiding patrols of drones. Leora's sensors detected every movement, every energy fluctuation. She guided Jacob through hidden paths, keeping him safe while they positioned signal jammers and decoys to create false activity for the network. As the sun rose, the final confrontation began. Drones and adaptive devices emerged, moving in synchronized patterns. Their numbers were greater than anything Jacob had seen before. Yet Leora remained calm. Her eyes glowed, her movements precise as she deployed containment fields, disrupted energy flows, and coordinated Jacob's actions. Jacob felt adrenaline surge through him. Every improvised device he had built, every strategy they had developed, was now being tested. He moved with speed and accuracy, placing disruptors, activating decoys, and working in perfect harmony with Leora. The network's central hub was visible now, a massive structure pulsing with bright energy, surrounded by layers of drones and adaptive devices. Leora analyzed it instantly. "Direct approach is risky. Energy output is extremely high. We must create a controlled breach." Jacob nodded. "Controlled breach? Got it." They began the final maneuver. Leora projected an energy bubble that isolated a section of the hub, while Jacob deployed a series of synchronized disruptors. Sparks flew, machines whirred, and the air hummed with energy. The hub attempted to respond, sending drones and adaptive devices to counteract them, but Leora anticipated every move. Step by step they advanced. Drones were disabled, adaptive devices confused by the holographic decoys, and the hub's defenses weakened. Jacob marveled at Leora's precision. She was not just assisting, she was orchestrating the entire operation with incredible skill. Finally, they reached the core of the hub. It was a glowing sphere, pulsing with energy and alien codes. Jacob's hands shook slightly as Leora extended a containment field around it. "This is it," she said. "We neutralize the hub, and the network will collapse." Jacob nodded. "Ready when you are." Leora's hands moved with speed and precision, interfacing with the alien core. Lights flashed, energy surged, and the hub resisted. But slowly the containment field stabilized it. Jacob assisted with the final disruptor, sending a precise pulse that overloaded the hub's systems. The energy pulsed once, twice, and then went still. Drones froze mid-air, adaptive devices powered down, and the entire network collapsed silently. Ridgewood was safe. Jacob exhaled, feeling a mixture of relief and exhaustion. "We did it." "Yes," Leora confirmed. "Threat neutralized. Ridgewood is safe. Probability of future interference in this area is minimal." For a moment, they stood in silence, watching the empty fields where the network had been. Jacob realized how much had changed. His life, once ordinary, had been transformed. He had faced incredible challenges, learned new skills, and discovered the resilience of humanity and the extraordinary capabilities of an alien intelligence like Leora. "Jacob," Leora said softly, "throughout this operation, observation indicates that human adaptability, creativity, and cooperation were key to success. Your decisions and actions were significant in determining outcomes." Jacob smiled faintly. "Thanks, Leora. I couldn't have done it without you." "You would have adapted," Leora replied. "However, collaboration increased efficiency and probability of success. It is optimal to work together." Jacob laughed softly. "Yeah, working together definitely beats doing it alone." As they returned to Ridgewood, the town appeared peaceful. People went about their lives unaware of the danger they had narrowly avoided. Jacob felt a strange sense of satisfaction, protecting others without anyone knowing, keeping the city safe, and proving that humans, when guided by knowledge and determination, could overcome even alien threats. Back in the apartment, Jacob and Leora reviewed the data. All systems indicated that the network was permanently disabled. No hidden nodes remained, and the drones were offline. Leora compiled a report, analyzing patterns and lessons learned. Jacob leaned back in his chair, exhausted but content. "We really did it, huh?" "Yes," Leora said. "Observation indicates that human and alien cooperation produced optimal outcomes. Ridgewood is secure. You have demonstrated resilience, intelligence, and strategic thinking." Jacob smiled. "Guess we make a good team." "Yes," Leora replied. "Teamwork maximizes efficiency and outcomes." In the following days, life slowly returned to normal. Jacob resumed work at his robotics lab, but now with renewed purpose. He continued to study alien technology alongside Leora, learning, adapting, and preparing for whatever challenges might come next. Though Ridgewood appeared ordinary to outsiders, Jacob knew it had been transformed. The town, humanity, and he himself had proven that with courage, intelligence, and collaboration, even with the help of an alien ally, any threat could be overcome. One evening, as the sun set, Jacob looked at Leora. "You know, life with you has been incredible. I never expected anything like this." Leora's eyes glowed softly. "Observation confirms that your life has changed. However, engagement, learning, and preparation improve outcomes and personal growth. Your adaptability has been exceptional." Jacob laughed softly. "Yeah, I guess I've learned a lot. About technology, about strategy, and about myself. And about cooperation," Leora added. "Together, humans and advanced intelligence can achieve remarkable results." Jacob nodded, feeling a sense of peace. For the first time in weeks, he felt that the world was safe, for now. The danger had passed, the town was secure, and humanity had proven its resilience. But even as he looked at the stars, Jacob knew this was only one chapter in a much larger story. Somewhere in the universe, other threats might exist. Other challenges might come. But he also knew that with Leora by his side, he could face anything. Together, human and alien had changed the course of Ridgewood's history. Together, they had proven that intelligence, courage, and cooperation, whether human or alien, could overcome even the most advanced threats. And together, they would be ready for whatever came next. After the central node was disabled, Ridgewood returned to a sense of normalcy, or at least as normal as it could be after what had happened. Streets buzzed again with human activity, children played in parks, and the town seemed oblivious to the invisible danger that had nearly engulfed it. Jacob, however, could not relax. Though the drones had stopped, he knew that their creators, whatever alien intelligence had sent them, might not have been finished. The city's safety was only temporary, and he felt the weight of responsibility pressing heavily on his shoulders. "Jacob," Leora said calmly one morning, "my sensors detect irregular energy readings beyond the immediate district. It is subtle, but unusual. I recommend investigation." Jacob frowned, rubbing his eyes. "Even after everything we did, there's more?" "Yes," Leora confirmed. "Patterns suggest that Ridgewood may have been a test site. Other nodes or devices may exist. It is possible that neutralizing the central node triggered alternative systems." Jacob exhaled deeply. He had hoped for a period of rest, of ordinary life, but it seemed that the real challenges were only beginning. Leora guided him to analyze the readings. Unlike before, the energy patterns were scattered, almost like echoes from the disabled central node. Jacob watched in fascination as Leora traced invisible currents of power through the city, connecting dots he could not even perceive. "See here?" she asked, projecting a holographic map of Ridgewood. "These points indicate residual activity. While individually minor, their distribution suggests coordination. If not addressed, they may form new hubs of interference." Jacob's mind raced. "So, if we ignore them, we could face another wave of drones." "Correct," Leora replied. "Preventive action is preferable to reactive response." Over the next several days, Jacob and Leora moved through the city, carefully investigating each energy hotspot. Leora's sensors were precise, detecting anomalies invisible to human instruments. Jacob assisted, learning how to use portable scanning devices she had adapted from his tools. Each location revealed small, hidden devices, much smaller than the drones, but clearly part of a larger network. "This is clever," Jacob said, examining one of the devices. "They're small, scattered, hard to detect. Whoever did this, they were testing humans at every level." "Yes," Leora replied. "Intelligence appears to value adaptability and observation. Ridgewood was a controlled environment for testing responses to threats and coordination." Jacob realized the truth. Their town had been chosen as an experiment. The drones, the central node, and the scattered devices were all part of a larger strategy to observe humans under pressure. And in the process, they had underestimated the ingenuity, resilience, and cooperation of humanity, especially when combined with alien assistants like Leora. The following day, Jacob and Leora discovered something even more troubling. One of the scattered devices emitted a signal, one that seemed to respond to their presence. Leora analyzed it immediately. "This device is adaptive," she explained. "It is learning from interactions. It may modify nearby systems to counteract human interference." Jacob's eyes widened. "So, the more we try to stop them, the smarter they get." "Yes," Leora said. "Caution is necessary. Direct engagement may trigger responses that are harder to manage." Jacob thought for a moment. "Then maybe we need to outsmart them, not just react. We need a plan that they can't anticipate." Leora's eyes glowed faintly green. "Strategic deception is feasible. I can simulate potential outcomes and identify methods for preemptive action." Together, they devised a strategy. Instead of confronting each device directly, They would use Leora's predictive abilities to manipulate signals, creating illusions of activity to mislead the adaptive systems. Jacob constructed small decoys and signal jammers based on Leora's guidance. They worked tirelessly, testing, refining, and adjusting their plan. By the end of the day, Ridgewood appeared calm again, but in reality, Jacob and Leora had created a complex network of countermeasures, an invisible web of influence and control, designed to keep the adaptive devices in check. That evening, as they monitored the results, Jacob felt a strange sense of pride. "You know," he said, "we're not just defending the town anymore. We're teaching it to protect itself, even if no one knows we're doing it." "Yes," Leora replied. "Human innovation combined with adaptive alien technology can create outcomes beyond initial expectations. Observation indicates increasing probability of long-term success." For several days, Ridgewood remained quiet. The adaptive devices showed signs of confusion, responding to the illusions and jammers with ineffective measures. Jacob and Leora had gained the upper hand, for now. But the peace was temporary. Late one night, as Jacob worked on refining a new device, Leora's sensors suddenly alerted them. "Jacob," she said, her voice calm but urgent, "I detect a concentrated energy surge outside the city limits. It is unlike previous patterns. High probability of a coordinated offensive." Jacob's heart sank. "So, a bigger attack?" "Yes," Leora confirmed. "This may be the next phase of their testing. Ridgewood is still a focal point." They moved quickly, heading to the outskirts where the surge originated. As they approached, Jacob could see the faint glow of energy formations in the distance, larger, more organized than anything they had faced before. The hum of power was deep and resonant, echoing across the empty fields. "This is huge," Jacob whispered. "Yes," Leora said. "It appears to be a central assembly, likely a coordination hub for remaining devices and potential reinforcements." Jacob realized the scale of the challenge. They were no longer dealing with scattered tests or small waves of drones. This was a coordinated force, an organized system designed to test humans on a large scale. The stakes had grown dramatically. As they approached closer, they noticed something else: subtle movements along the energy fields. Shadows of drones and adaptive devices moved carefully, as if guarding the area. Leora scanned continuously, calculating safe paths and predicting movements. "We will need a multi-phase approach," Leora said. "Direct confrontation is likely to trigger rapid adaptation. Stealth and precision are essential. I recommend division of tasks, disruption, observation, and targeted neutralization." Jacob nodded, feeling both excitement and fear. "Let's do it. We've come this far. We can't stop now." For hours, they worked under the cover of night. Leora guided Jacob through hidden paths, avoiding detection while planting devices designed to disrupt the adaptive network. Each step required careful calculation, precision, and timing. Even minor errors could alert the system and cause escalation. By dawn, their plan had yielded results. Several adaptive devices were temporarily disabled, and energy patterns indicated confusion in the remaining system. Jacob and Leora had achieved a significant tactical advantage. Exhausted but determined, Jacob looked at Leora. "We did it, at least for now." "Yes," Leora replied. "However, analysis indicates this is only a temporary solution. The hidden threat remains. Continued vigilance is necessary." Jacob understood. Their victories had not ended the danger. They had only delayed it, bought time to learn and adapt. And as he watched the sun rise over Ridgewood, he realized something profound. The town, humanity, and even he himself had changed. He was no longer an ordinary engineer with a quiet life. He was a defender, a strategist, and part of a partnership, with an alien intelligence capable of extraordinary things. Together they could face threats that humans alone could not withstand. But Jacob also knew one thing: the real test was yet to come. Somewhere beyond the fields, beyond the energy surges, the hidden force watched, learning, adapting, preparing. And when the next wave arrived, Jacob and Leora would have to be ready, not just to defend Ridgewood, but perhaps to confront a challenge that could stretch far beyond their small town.